Hello, and welcome to The Pulse. I'm Asia McCrae.
And I'm Natalie DeSenza. We have a packed show for you today.
Coming up, we will report on the sensitive topics of mental health and suicide. We'll go one-on-one with a candidate looking to be slated as Connecticut's next Secretary of State, and then an important Sacred Heart organization helping those in need.
Next, an inspiring story on how a pro basketball player is helping kids in New Haven, and a look into where shoe students are working in the baseball world. Then, an exciting update from a star shoe football player. And finally, it has taken a while, but spring has finally sprung after a long winter. We will show you a place you will definitely want to check out.
From Sacred Heart University in Fairfield, Connecticut, this is The Pulse.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Each year, millions of Americans face the reality of living with a mental illness. This month, the National Alliance on Mental Illness leads the movement to raise awareness about mental health.
Each year, the Alliance provides support and educates the public. For more information about May is Mental Health Month campaign, visit the webpage at nami.org.
Many athletes struggle with internal battles and disorders becoming their own opponents. Stefan Ayayan introduces us to one shoe student who has successfully overcome his struggle.
For the past 5 years, Sean Williams of the Sacred Heart Wrestling Team has been a fierce competitor on the mat, experiencing the ups and downs of his career throughout the course of the coronavirus pandemic. But his biggest challenge was dealing with something he had kept from his teammates and coaches. Were you nervous at first when you came to Sacred Heart knowing you had a disorder?
No, I wasn't nervous actually with my disorder. I was medicated when I got here, and then I was not medicated in the second semester of my freshman year.
His disorder is ADHD, Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, and from there on he developed a close relationship with head coach John Clark, a former All-American wrestler at Ohio State. When asked about Williams' ADHD problem, he said, "I think with Sean and anyone else battling things unseen to others, there is hope because of how open and honest student-athletes across the country have been in recent years regarding their struggles."
He's always talked about in the beginning that you gotta leave your mark, you gotta leave your legacy for, because you're paving the way for people behind you.
At the Martyr Center, Williams spends his time producing and co-hosting a podcast with his fellow classmates, including Coach Clark, who has been very supportive in helping Williams embark a new career.
So many times people have dreams and aspirations and they talk about it. Yeah, one day I'll start a podcast. Well, one day I'll do this one day. Well, that one day is today. That one day is here. And when we can actually put it down and solidify it that we're actually doing a podcast, it can make you feel really good because of someone's passion. Like Sean has an incredible passion for this.
Coach Clark has said that athletes can come forward to talk about their struggles and concerns. They will find an open and receptive environment whose goal it is to pursue their careers. In Fairfield, Connecticut for The Pulse, I'm Stefan Ayayan.
After the sudden death of 17-year-old Kevin Kutzo, his family created an organization in Fairfield to raise awareness and help at-risk youth who are dealing with mental health illnesses. Luca Castleduke has more on Kevin's afterglow.
It's been over a year since Kevin lost his battle with mental illness, and ever since that day, his family have dedicated themselves to spreading awareness and helping others.
What is the purpose of this foundation and what is the mission?
We have 4 main goals, and we want to get kids to talk, to be more empathetic, to be more giving. We want to help educate parents about depression and suicide. We also want to help with the current pediatric mental health crisis. And most of all, we want to get people to talk.
The Cooksos have dedicated many months to this foundation. But with that sacrifice, they have learned so much about their son and the community he belonged to.
We received lots of letters from kids, high schoolers. And one of the letters that was written and shared with us by Alita Ward, who was a reverend in Fairfield, she gave us this letter, and this child had written, or teenager had written, that Kevin's afterglow would shine forever. And it was just, Kevin was a very bright person, and even though he was suffering from depression, he brought a lot of joy and light and life to many other people.
Even though there has been many positives, they still believe they have a long way to go.
Our son was going through depression, and we didn't know everything about it, and we want to try and help people understand what depression is and help students who are going through depression understand what it is, and that it's depression is common, it's here, it's treatable and beatable, and it's okay to not be okay.
What advice or what message do you seek to give?
I would want them to know that they're loved, that you are so loved by so many.
For more information on how to help, visit kevinsafterglow.org. In Fairfield, Connecticut, for The Pulse, this is Luca Casalduc.
The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is a network of over 160 crisis centers providing 24/7 service via a toll-free hotline number. We'll be right back.
When New Haven Health Director Maritza Bond heard that Connecticut's current Secretary of State was retiring, she felt she had developed the skills from her career to attain a higher office. Now, Bond is on the run.
You spent your career in public health. What will you take from that experience if you become the Secretary of State?
For me, public health served as an inspiration to run for Secretary of the State. For me, the passion around serving the public originated from my childhood, and to be afforded the opportunity to really expand those efforts to continue to protect our democracy through civic engagement, as well as supporting our businesses to continue with our vitality of businesses growing in Connecticut, really stemmed as my inspiration and motivation to run for Secretary of the State.
So the field of candidates is pretty large.
Yes.
What separates you from the rest?
You know, there are a number of individuals either exploring or officially declared a run for Secretary of the State. I respect each of them. They are great legislators or local alder, but for me, what separates me from the rest is that I actually have government executive experience. In the midst of crisis, I led a unified command team through a pandemic that we haven't had in 100 years, and also protecting and supporting our businesses in the midst of this era that we're in. And as an administrator, you need those skills to be able to run a constitutional office.
So if you become the Secretary of State, what do you hope to achieve in the position?
You know, one of the things that I have done before declaring a run for Secretary of the State, I honestly have never run for office and recognized that. And so I explored and had conversations with individuals across Connecticut to hear what they would like to see from the Secretary of the State. You know, our current Secretary of the State has done a great job in trying to run this constitutional office with limited resources, and I want to be able to, you know, pass that baton and be able to, number one, certainly promote early voting. We are well overdue. We want to ensure that we are supporting policies, but we have to make sure that people are really the supporters of the policies that we're trying to push. We can't push policies from the top down. My vision is to partner with local registrars and town clerks by creating a commission where they can be able to employ their voices, as well as having a robust education campaign so that we can have youth, college students, and older individuals all be part of our civic engagement process. And we know when we have a robust education campaign, people can then have the autonomy to do that.
What do you want Connecticut residents to know about you?
You know, I talked a little bit about a lot of my vision and really formalities. What I would love to share is a little bit personal about myself. I'm a mom of two. My sons are Makai Bonds and Markel Bond, 23 and 19 years old. I think the older, this is definitely not a highlight. This is a the people think this is a highlight. This is like my wisdom patch, I call it. And I'm very fortunate that my kids are like my biggest cheerleaders. And I also want to say that my family and being in the community that I was in served as my inspiration for public service. And I want to be able to bring those skills to and vision to the Secretary of the State and be for the people and by the people.
That's great. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Homelessness and hunger is a major issue, one of the major issues in the communities that surround our campus. Thankfully, there's a number of different services that help those in need, and there's one organization that has a special relationship with Sacred Heart University. I have the story. Inside of the main academic building here at Sacred Heart University sits the Office of Mission Integration, Ministry, and Multicultural Affairs, which is part of the Volunteer Services Program. The office connects volunteer students with different organizations in the community. One of them is the Thomas Merton Center, which is a food pantry and soup kitchen in the Hollow, which shares a similar mission as Sacred Heart.
One of the primary parts of Thomas Merton's mission comes right from the words of the historical figure Thomas Merton, like being for the sake of others. And really what volunteer programs and service learning tries to do here at Sacred Heart is create spaces where our students and where our staff can be for the sake of others.
The center is named after the American Trappist monk and social activist Thomas Merton. The relationship between the center and our university started back in 1974 when a priest from Sacred Heart started a prayer group. The group and volunteers would hand out sandwiches to the community. Since then, the relationship has evolved into what it is today.
Before COVID, students were going to volunteer at their soup kitchen and their food pantry, so serving meals directly to the poor, but then also organizing food, collecting donations in the pantry, that type of thing. Another thing that has happened in the past, again before COVID, was students who are participating in Community Connections have gone to volunteer at the pantry as well. So Community Connections is like a program for incoming freshmen, who care about community service. And the week before classes start, we bring like 40 to 50 students together and put them in a whole bunch of service situations and community engagement situations in Bridgeport. And the idea is that they're able to build a relationship with one another and also ease their transition into Sacred Heart by becoming part of the larger community.
Sacred Heart students will have the opportunity next month to make a difference at the Thomas Merton Center with the Share What You Can end of the year food collection.
The idea behind Share What You Can is that a lot of students leave campus with a lot of non-perishable food, and a lot of it ends up getting thrown away. So to be as best stewards of our resources as possible, we're going to give students, as they're moving out, the opportunity to donate their non-perishable goods, and then we will be taking some of those donations and donating those to Nourish Bridgeport, another nonprofit that we work with, and the Thomas Merton Center.
In Bridgeport, Connecticut for the Pulse Plus, I'm Natalie DeSenza. If you're interested in volunteering at the Thomas Merton Center, you can email volunteerservices@Sacred Heart University.
Coming up, I have covered a story about a basketball team with a unique background. Then, a look into what Sacred Heart students are doing with America's favorite pastime. And we'll bring you an exciting update about a favorite SHU football player. All that coming up next. You may not know the name Raekwon Clark, but many in New Haven do. He is a professional basketball player in Germany and has started an up-and-coming boys AAU team right in his hometown. I have the story. AAU travel basketball has been around for years, bringing opportunities, friendships, and lifelong memories to young kids that have a love for the game. This experience has been brought back to a group of young boys by a hometown hero in New Haven, Connecticut. The team originally started as Riot Regime, but was renamed to RC23 after getting sponsored by professional basketball player Raekwon Clark. Once the team rebranded, Tamar Williams was asked to coach the 16U team. Former military personnel Andre Sutton returned home and brought his coaching styles with him.
It means a little bit more because it's my hometown. Some of them are even my family members, so it's kind of a little bit more personal, and I get a little bit more, personal satisfaction from coaching them. But it's definitely something I love to do, so I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Although they are a new team, the players have been growing as a unit and getting better. And Jaden Williams gets to do this every day with older brother Tamar Williams, who is coaching his team.
This team means a lot to me, especially playing for my brother.
On a normal team, you kind of find the coaches are telling you what to do, the players are all trying to fight each other almost for spots. This team, you get the feeling everyone's trying to make each other better, and coaches are really willing to do the drill with you, and they're not just telling you what to do, they're showing you how to do it.
Instantly, I could feel the family vibes. I just wanted to be a part of it. What I like most about this team is that, we're all the brotherhood. We come together, we have bumps and bruises down the line, but I feel like it's better when you can just come together and bring W home.
With the help of the community, RC23 has access to the New Haven Athletic Center twice a week for practices to work on their craft.
The practices are high intensity, very high intense, very competitive. We're going at it like we hate each other, but on the court, it's obvious we love each other.
I describe my practices as skill building and team building especially. No teammates are throwing each other down. If you mess up, they're bringing you back up.
And although he is over 3,000 miles away in Germany, Clark continues to make an impact at home with his team as much as he can.
He's even, sent some video notes to players and stuff like that.
I should be home straight, as I said before, and let's get this thing going. Let's go.
To these young men, playing on this team means more than just playing basketball. It's also a chance at a better life.
We live in a city where there's a lot of violence and there's a lot of people, guided the wrong way. So to see these kids coming here and really trust us to get them to better places has been a blessing. It's really big for us, especially, I haven't traveled anywhere besides basketball, besides AAU, so just be able to go to like Virginia, Pennsylvania, Atlantic City, those are places I wouldn't be able to go without the game of basketball. So I thank the coaches for bringing us up there all the time, it's big.
In New Haven, Connecticut, for The Pulse, I'm Age McCrae.
Now we send it to Joseph Shanklapur, who has a story on a popular job destination for SHU alumni. Joe?
On June 6th, I will be starting a new role as a freelance broadcast associate at the MLB Network, following the footsteps of many SHU graduates.
The top 3 things that correlated from Sacred Heart to MLB Network were teamwork, working in a fast-paced environment, and learning how to communicate with your peers.
I actually got offered a job at MLB Network on the day of graduation. So immediately I went right into a field that is more media side and media focused, but I actually got a degree in marketing and sports management.
So we cut videos for all of our shows that air on our network. We'll cut videos for MLB.com. We cut videos for our social media and as well as team's social medias.
Working for The Pulse at Sacred Heart, it was a preparation period before a live production. So at MLB Network, it was very similar in the live production stance, where I had to work very fast, very quick, and really rely on my peers when needed.
The classes at Sacred Heart that translate the most to my job were all of the editing classes. We use Adobe Premiere Pro, but even the classes with Avid, just learning the different techniques helped so much. The quicker you learn, the better there. So it really was helpful coming into the network with that knowledge that I learned at Sacred Heart.
But I think this just really goes to show that the tools that you learn at Sacred Heart and the connections you make from the professors and different types of speakers that they bring into the classrooms, you can make a lot of connections and you can excel in fields that aren't even in the area that you got your degree in.
It's really stressful sometimes at MLB Network because if you get an assignment and it's supposed to be airing in 10 minutes, you can't just be like, oh, I need an extension. It's airing in 10 minutes, so either you have it or you don't. So working in those live event situations really helped get you ready for the type of pressure that you'll be under.
So I'm extremely grateful for my time at Sacred Heart, and I'm even more grateful for the opportunities they got me and the connections I made that helped me get my job at MLB Network.
So I'd have to say that experience with the Pulse really prepared me for MLB Network.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm Mackenzie Carboni.
Sacred Heart football fans have been anticipating where star running back Julius Chestnut would be picked during the 2022 NFL Draft. Well, we finally know, and he's been drafted by... Congratulations, Julius, and we wish you all the best in the pros.
Well, after a long winter, spring is finally here. We wanted to welcome spring with our very own Christian Abraham as he takes us to a place close by that will be a great place to visit one day in the warm weather.
Well, that's our show.
We hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time on The Pulse.